Hi, this is Paul Slakis. I'm speaking to Dr. S.D. Wu. Hi, Doctor. How are you?
How are you, Mr. Caucus?
I'm
Doctor?
good. I'm very good. And I have the wonderful opportunity now to hear a little bit about what you're doing, some thoughts. And you've been a professor, right, for some time?
Yes, I was a physics professor.
Physics, wow, okay. And where were you teaching?
At the University of Delaware.
Okay, the Blue Hens.
I'm
familiar with because my daughter went to that school.
Yes, I recall you telling me that, and I'm glad.
You met her husband there, and I'm glad. So it's all good.
Even more connection than I first thought.
Tell me about your physics and the kinds of things that you do, education-wise, and then let's say your passions. And we're going to talk about the Asian American community as well.
Okay. Well, I was trained as an experimental physicist, so I do experiments in atomic and molecular physics. I use a dye laser. In other words, it's a laser that can go to any visible frequency as you order, and to try to find out the so-called photo detachment cross-section of some negative ions. It's got some implications in upper hemispheric research. Sometimes we stay up all night and rotating, sleeping in order to make sure that one experiment gets done completely while all the equipments are working. And there are so many pieces of equipment, to get them all working is not so easy, I'm
sure.
But those are bygone days. I've retired since more than 10 years ago.
And now what are you doing? Are you fully retired?
I'm a full-time volunteer for a cause I believe in.
What's that?
And that is to help make Asian Americans equal citizens of this nation, and at the same time help make America, quote unquote, a more perfect union.
Okay, and tell us about how you're going about it, or how your organization. What is there a specific organization that we're speaking about?
Yes, the organizations I head are called 80-20. It's 80-20 Political Action Committee, and that's one branch of the organization I head. And another one is called 80-20 Educational Foundation, which is a 501c3 organization, because some of the things we do are not politically related. So that part of the things we are doing, we can make use of tax-deductible donations.
Uh-huh. And do you have a website? Does the organizations have websites as well?
We have two websites. One is www.80-20initiative.net. The other one is called www.80-20educationalfoundation.org. It's O-R-G.
What does 80-20 stand for?
Well, it is because in politics, so far as a civilian group is concerned, the best way you can get oneself some political clout is the ability to deliver a bloc vote. So our aim is to copy after the Jewish American community, which has consistently delivered at an 80% rate, at an 80% level to the Democratic presidential candidate. However, when they're really mad at a Democratic presidential candidate, they are so cohesive that they can switch to deliver to the Republican Party. So we try to copy that. We haven't achieved exactly this, according to New York Times. In the last 2012 election, we achieved 73 percentage level.
Okay.
To the candidate we endorsed, who happened to be President Obama. But we are, although we are not married to the idea of endorsing a Democratic presidential candidate, we simply see which candidate has truly helped Asian Americans to achieve equal citizen status in the last 4 years. We don't look very far away because that's too complicated. We look 4 years ahead.
Okay. And who started this organization?
Well, actually, 6 persons did. I was one of them. Another person whom you may have heard of was former Chancellor of University of California, Berkeley, whose name is Chang Ling Tian. The last name is T-I-N.
Okay. And so you're feeling good about what you are all working on? Is it going well?
Yes, we feel very good about it, and I think it's certainly a reflection of the American democratic system. You know, the American government doesn't go out of its way to help a small minority like us. The American government might have gone out of its way to help the blacks way back in 1965, and gone out of its way to help women because the women's vote were getting really important. You know how our political system really strictly goes according to its what's to its advantage, whether it's to Democrats' advantage or Republicans' advantage. But for a small minority like the Asian Americans, which represents only about 5% of the total population, but only about 2.5% of the total voters, we really have to work extra hard to get some attention. And the best way of doing it is through a bloc vote.
Okay. So this
huge advantage from it.
So this is your passion, this organization. Do you do other things besides this that you'd like to mention to the audience?
Well, I do other things like a normal human being. I like some sports. By the way, the organization is not my passion. It's getting equal treatment by America for the 15 million Asian Americans is my passion. I don't care if the organization one day dies, but the goal of helping Asian Americans to get equal opportunity is indeed my passion.
Well, equality is a very important word, and creating it, living it, being it is integral to what they call democracy, right?
Yes, democracy works, but it doesn't work perfectly, you know.
It's a tough one because you know why? Because there's people involved. If we get the people out of politics, we'll have no problem.
Absolutely, you're right, Paul.
But we keep trying, and we're hopefully doing it in a peaceful way. There will be confusion, but we do our best to state our point, respect another man's opinion, and take life on in that kind of a way to go, in a peaceful way, nonviolent way.
In a peaceful way, and hoping to make a little difference.
By far. Well, this is very good. Your website, you have some success stories. I'm putting them up on the text part of our conversation. Dr. Wu, is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience?
Not really. You've been very kind, having given me a lot of time, and I certainly appreciate it. And if you have other questions for me, I'll be glad to answer.
Okay. Well, the last question that I have for you, and we'll put the website so people can go to them. Our company here has been involved with the Asian American community for over 27 years, and the Chinese actually put us in business in our multicultural marketing and advertising area.
Oh,
and so I've been extremely involved in many, many, many different ways with the Asian communities. In fact, at one point, my biggest project initially, the first one, was to help the Asians for amnesty in this country in the 80s. And the Census Bureau...
That is amnesty for what particular situation?
Well, for those Asians who are living here for become citizens.
Oh, you mean get political asylum?
Well, they were here, and the government was going to give them citizenship if they would, let the government know.
Oh, I mean illegal immigrants.
Illegal immigrants, right?
Uh-huh. Well, thank you. Yes, there are many guys in there. Good guy, good women.
Oh, yeah. So that was a very major outreach, as I think the government's recently had another program and has had them over the years, for immigrant, not just only Asian, but all immigrants. So they're trying to make that a smoother transition into our country.
Sure. And when I came into this country at the age of 18, in the initial period, I certainly got a lot of help as well.
That is a wonderful country for an immigrant, and in almost all cases, we're all immigrants, or sons and daughters of immigrants, or grandparents who were immigrants, and so on and so forth. The growth of America is built around the immigrant story.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, the only non-immigrants are the Native Americans.
That's true. That is true. And there are the native people that were here who weren't even Americans, just natives, living on this part of the world. So it's a lot of beautiful things. I thank you very much. My last question to you is, what's good news for you, Dr. Wu?
The good news for me perhaps will come in June. You may or may not know, the elite schools, in terms of their admission program, has truly been strongly discriminating against Asian American kids. A Princeton sociologist, Thomas S. Shade, has done research to show that Asian American kids will have to score 140 points higher than white applicants and 250 points higher than Hispanics and 450 points higher than blacks in order to have equal chance in getting into a first-rate university. So we filed amicus brief with the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is likely to pronounce its decision in June of this year. And I'm hoping that the Supreme Court will say, yes, Asian Americans are strongly discriminated against in the current admission programs, and it violates the 14th Amendment of Equal Protection, and will, from that point on, give Asian American youngsters equal chance to get into first-rate universities.